Good afternoon and welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. My article over the weekend was headlined "At the Moment of Vision, the Eyes See Nothing." I have found as I've gotten older that time and even the world simply does not move in a linear fashion. I too, like all of you I'm sure, am waiting for that magic pill which will reverse time and give me back my 21-year-old body, which of course was an Enzo Ferrari, and which I surely in a folly of youth did not appreciate at the time, and instead coveted the car, which was nothing. Yuval Noah Harari leads us to believe that the arrival of such a pill that will reverse time cannot be that far away. I would like to keep my more mature mind and not get back that testosterone-fueled mind machine of old, however. A lot of folks will have read The Lord of the Flies, which is a 1954 novel by Nobel Prize-winning British author William Golding. The book focuses on a group of British boys stranded on an uninhabited island and their disastrous attempt to govern themselves, not unlike the post-Brexit vote United Kingdom. However, fewer folks will have read William Golding's book, The Spire. And in that book, Golding writes, "At the moment of vision, the eyes see nothing." The moment of vision is in essence a non-linear thing. It's a moment of deep insight. The President of the United States of America, currently undergoing an impeachment process at the hands of nervous Nancy Pelosi, his moniker, which probably is a linguistic transference of a sort, and whom Speaker Pelosi and not the Trumpster I find sexy, but that's a discussion I have to have with my wife, was booed for the second consecutive weekend. This weekend he was booed at a UFC 244 event at Madison Square Garden. Pollice verso or verso pollice is a Latin phrase meaning with a turned thumb that is used in the context of gladiatorial combat. It refers to the hand gesture or thumb signal used by ancient Roman crowds to pass judgment on a defeated gladiator. The Madison Square UFC 244 verso pollice moment is a Shakespeare-level moment for President Trump, and of more import than the impeachment process because impeachment is political and therefore the outcome should split on party political lines. The Republican Party will be making a hard-nosed political calculation this weekend that if the president is getting booed at a UFC event, the base is lost. Vice President Pence, who is an evangelical Christian and is in the habit of praying with another evangelical Christian and Nobel Prize winner far away in Addis Ababa, allegedly, is the coming man, and this could happen real quick. At the moment of vision, the eyes see nothing. Staying with the US, we learned last week that the US national debt crossed $23 trillion, having gained $1.3 trillion in just 12 months. US stock indices posted fresh record highs. This is now unhinged. I recall sitting in the offices of a gentleman called Julian Robertson in the 1990s. Robertson founded Tiger Management, one of the earliest hedge funds. Robertson is credited with turning $8 million in startup capital in 1980 into over $22 billion in the late 1990s. And I met him at the apogee, and subsequently Mr. Robertson bet just about everything on shorting the NASDAQ. And the story goes like this: the NASDAQ stayed irrational and even got more irrational longer than he could stay solvent. Of course, he was right, and the NASDAQ subsequently crashed in what was characterized as the dot-com bubble. The point is this: we can see the dislocation, we can smell the stink of it. Think WeWork's Neumann admittedly never made it to the public markets, but timing it is both an art and a science. And always remember, the entire paraphernalia of the financial markets and its entire raison d'etre is there to prevent the bubble bursting. The elastic band will snap because we are in voodoo territory, but when, and will it inflate further before snapping? And what will happen in the moment of the snapping? And make no mistake, everyone is riding the wave. It's all hocus pocus. Xi's China is in a similar fix and fully loaded with debt. I came across this in an article in War on the Rocks. Once Xi becomes weak, sick, old, or dies, various interests within China will likely have a weakened institutional ability to deal with the distribution of interests and managing factional rivalry. The Ministry of Sound, my concept for ministry was purely this: 100% sound system first, light second, design third, in that order, the reverse of everyone else's idea. 4AA people, otherwise known as the Bitcoin evangelists, will of course all be screaming, Ali Khan, just buy Bitcoin, it's going to 50,000. 100,000, 1 million. Last week they all got carried away when Xi apparently gave Bitcoin his imprimatur. It took China about 3 days of being officially interested in blockchain to make their intentions clear. Transparent, panopti-chain, immutable, social credit dystopia. Nick Carter. All you people that are ready to forsake all of your values for the sake of riding some authoritarian-driven pump, I want nothing to do with you, Nick Carter. I don't believe in the goddamn underlying technology. I believe in the freedom that the technology gives us from autocrats and dictators, Nick Carter. It matters because people are interpreting it as validation of permissionless blockchains when it represents a perversion and corruption of those ideals. Nick Carter again. Not to mention the ability to shut off access to anyone on the system with a flip of a switch. A 21st century authoritative government's dream rhythm trader. The terrifying reality of a cashless society, Madvillian. I am of the view that Bitcoin and crypto is a Jeffrey Edward Epstein and his cast of characters level con, and I'm having nothing to do with it, other than occasionally looking in and admiring the sophistication and the level of the con. It is breathtaking. The most referenced poem today is W.B. Yeats's The Second Coming, turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. It's easy to see why. William Golding, for the quote, "At the moment of vision, the eye sees nothing," is from the Spire, which is a dark and powerful portrait of one man's will and the folly that he creates. Pangal, the lame and impotent caretaker, reports that the workmen employed to build the spire torment him and warns that one day they will kill me. Jocelyn fails to do anything of note to help him. Pangal begs him to send them away, but Jocelyn only requests that the master builder speaks to his men and asks them to stop bullying Pangal. It appears later that Pangal's prediction is correct, although Jocelyn's description of the event is far from conclusive as he watches the workmen chase Pangal near the pit. He saw men who tormented Pangal, having him at the broom's end. In an apocalyptic glimpse of seeing, he caught how a man danced forward to Pangal, the model of the spire projecting obscenely from between his legs. Then the swirl and the noise and the animal bodies hurled Jocelyn against stones so that he could not see, but only hear how Pangal broke. Le Figaro published a photograph from inside Notre Dame shortly before the roof collapsed as molten lead fell into the nave. That's from Richard Waghorn. This is Donald Trump arriving to protests in NYC at the Garden. Check out the signs he saw on the way. That's from Justin Hendricks. This is a photograph of Trump's reaction to being booed at the UFC 244 event in New York City. This is the painting Pollice, verso 1872 by Jean-Léon Gérôme. This is a photograph of the UFC. Trump has arrived at Madison Square Garden after a motorcade ride through New York. That's from Andrew Restuccia. Robertson, of course, the founder of Tiger Management, one of the earliest hedge funds. Ralph Cadian, some traders have been waiting for the crash for 10 years. Others tell you the trend is your friend. Its official US debt is now $23 trillion. The US crossed that threshold on October the 31st. There's a link to the Ministry of Sound, which is somewhere which I know about because I visited it on a number of occasions. Free costume idea for the fellas panicking about a look for tonight. Jared Kushner's iconic blazer flak jacket look. And there's a link to Nick Carter's thread where he said it took China about 3 days of being officially interested in blockchain to make their intentions clear, transparent, panopticon, immutable social credit dystopia.